Hi there, great to see everybody. I'm Alison Littlejohn from UCL, and my colleague Francisco Duran del Fierro is here as well. I would argue that we are dealing with the most difficult part of all this, which is the humans, us, people. And I'm going to start with the end point, which is in the title here. So what we're trying to do is contribute to the pathways roadmap, and also to have some user cultural narratives about some of the problems that people experience. So starting with the endpoint, go to the next slide, and we have three key partners in this project. So ourselves at UCL, we're doing the social and cultural work really. And then, so we have Nia from Hartree. Do you want to stand up and say hello to everyone? The Hartree colleagues are really helping us to connect with the people that we need to connect with in order to understand what the issues are. And then we have Steve Earle, who is from Edinburgh University, Edinburgh's Futures Institute. One thing that we know from previous work we've done is that we need to work with ourselves and with communities to really think about what future scenarios could look like, and almost to unlearn what we would normally do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hand over just for a few minutes to Francisco, who's going to talk a little bit about the context, the need and the methodology. Then I'll come back and say more specifically what we're going to do in this project. So Francisco.
Thank you, Alison. Yes, in a couple of minutes, I'm going to try to explain key concepts from social science, because I know that most of people here is not from social science. So the context is, as you know, there are many challenges around the federation of DRI and compute services, like institutional diversity, equity, inclusion, the legal system, and so on and so on. We know all of those problems, but we want to focus on in this challenge is something that John said at the beginning, is how you bring together communities with different epistemic cultures, right? We define epistemic culture, no, ours is this from North Cetina. That is the different and unique ways of reasoning, ways of responding to change, ways of communicating, ways of collaborating. So each area or each community, you can see different ways of responding to change. And that is what we want to explore, how those communities respond to those changes. So we see the DRI landscape beyond technical, beyond the technical aspect. We see that as a site of epistemic transformations. But what we mean by that is, like, with the federated of DRI, you can create new form of work, for example, what is called meta work, which could be defined as invisible work or unrecognized work, and other kind of work. So we want to explore those types of work emerging from these new challenges. And the next ones. So also we want to say something about the concept of culture, because of course we have a defined notion of culture. We share the notion, but there are some details I would like to share, that culture is beyond social norms and customs. Also involve objects like digital objects, high-performance computers, data, and so on. So culture, we have to understand culture in relation to technologies. That is what we want to highlight here. So we can say, for example, that federated DRI is part of a culture. Just to emphasize that point, we define culture in three different dimensions. The first one is material. The second one is knowledge. And the third one is meaning, because we want to focus on meaning. What does it mean is how people value, understand, or frame, or enact the federation. And we have those meanings, different kind of meaning across different communities. So that is the focus. And here is my last slide. So we define meaning, for example, using these four dimensions, like symbolic values. For example, people can say, okay, for the federation of my infrastructure is kind of an institutional, is a mark of institutional modernity or not. Okay. Through ideas for the future, emotional meanings, and moral evaluations. So we want to explore those issues and trying to collect some insights to the roadmaps. So, okay, so yeah, just to finish, that is more or less the question that is driving the project.
So this is what we're actually going to do. We've already started work on basically 3 objectives. The first is to identify these cultural challenges, and we're doing that by, first of all, looking at what is what's happening across the board, but also like others, we have a survey and interviews as well to try and dig deeper into what some of these cultural issues are. And then once we know that, we're going to 3 workshops, one here in Edinburgh, one in London at UCL, and also one at Daresbury at Hartree, to then explore inclusive futures. And this is when our colleagues from the Edinburgh Futures Institute are going to help develop the methodology. And methodology is a key part of this project, like really thinking, how do we bring together the social sciences and the other sciences as well that are involved here. And then our final objective is to try to, start having an impact on practice, to think about how can we bring together these ideas in a way that can help shape future policy. So in the next slide, we have 3 main cases that we want to focus on. One is academia, and in particular, we're interested in arts and humanities because we think it's quite an underrepresented group in this area. The public sector, working with NHS and the UK Atomic Energy Authority, and then industry through some industry clusters. Again, these are connections that we're making through Hartree, and we're very grateful. However, if anyone in particular would like to join us on this journey and explore these issues, please do. Just going back to what our approach is, that we're thinking very broadly about these cultural issues and meaning making and what does it mean to go forward with federated data. But more specifically, we're bringing together different conceptualizations and different methodologies to try to build new ground in terms of helping go forward in future with this kind of work and with other digital research infrastructures. We're not only focusing on the 3 case studies, but we're interested in people who are using or already doing something in federated data, people who are thinking about it, but also these inactive users. And these are the people it's quite difficult for us to connect with. So obviously people who are already doing it, we know some of these, but the people who should be doing this and are not are much more difficult. So if you do know groups, please contact us, and we'd very much like to make connections with them. So in the next slide, I'm going to ask you please take your phone out, and if you wouldn't mind spending a few minutes, we would very much be grateful to hear your views in terms of doing this survey and letting us know what you think. If you want to let us know about the survey, we're also very happy about that. And we're looking forward to coming back and letting you know what the cultural and social issues are that we discover. So thank you very much.